Hello everyone. I'm going to do a recording because class didn't really go today. Technology is, useful and a pain in the ass most of the time. So, we'll just go through some stuff and see where it leads us. We'll do mostly shoulder mobility stuff today. Well, of course, we'll start out by warming up the spine a little bit. So we're going to do some roll downs. If roll downs don't work for you, hinge instead. So I'll do one roll down, then I'll do a hinge so everybody sees what we're doing. Either way, find a good stance for your feet. Weight the heels, pinky toe side and big toe side. Feel your arch coming up underneath you to help support you. And try to find that weightedness into the ground and length up through the top of your head. So that's where we start. If you're rolling down, you're going to tuck your chin and roll down your spine. And really try to articulate that flexion of the spine all the way through. At the bottom, you hang for a little bit. Think about trying to pull your tailbone down to lengthen the lumbar spine a little bit more. And then when you're ready to come back up, think about planting your feet down. The feet are driving down, your tailbone tucks so that you can stack your spine right on top of your body. Okay, if hinging is more your thing, think about starting the movement with a little hip hinge so your butt goes back. Then think about, in that position, what's happening with your spine. Are you arching? Are you hunching? Try to find your ribs and pelvis connection. Basically engaging your rectus abdominis so that as you go forward, your front is supporting you as much as your back to keep a straight spine all the way through the top of your head. When you need to, you can bend your knees a little bit, feel your hips going back, everything straight. And if it's comfortable, you can roll down from here, roll back up, find your flat back, and then come up. Or you can just do a simple hinge, hinging down and back up. Okay, so pick your poison. We'll do two more. Breathe through it. Try to find length in your spine wherever you are. Weight in your feet and connection from head to toe. Okay, now we're all going to hinge. So arms stay down at your sides, they're just going to hang. You're going to hinge down, try to get to 90 degrees, bend your knees if you need to. Engage your abdomen and just let your arms hang. And then lift your arms up towards your ears and lower them down. Maintaining your abdominal engagement, reach in front of you. Do that a few times, and then unhinge. A little hip pop in there, fun. All right, so hinge again. Think about maintaining your neutral spine. And then we're going to bring the arms out to a T. Keep your abdomen engaged and bring your shoulder blades towards your spine and back down. And unhinge. Okay, warming up a little bit, hopefully. So I'm gonna do some club swing stuff. If you don't have clubs, just use your arms, it's fine. But I'm gonna show it with clubs just so you can see. But the movements are all the same whether you have an extension on your hands or not. So, for this exercise, you want your legs to be pretty close together. Take a moment to find a really strong, steady stance in your feet and try to wrap around to your sacrum. So your glutes are engaged, your adductors are engaged, your abdominal muscles are holding you upright. And then you can vary how much rotation of the spine that you do with this depending on what feels right for your body. But just start swinging forward and back. And if you're watching yourself as well as me, you should try to get your back arm to disappear. So it's literally going straight behind you. And then start to increase your angle up, so you're going and stopping at more of a 45-degree angle, still trying to keep your arm behind you to stay behind you. It's happening on one side for me. That's exciting. Okay, and now you're going to complete the circles. So one arm is going forward, one arm is going back. And then go back to your kind of 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And we're going to make the circles go the other direction. If you can remember how that works. All right, now we're gonna do one club for one hand. Find your good stance again. You put one hand on your hip if you'd like. Keep that arm out of the way. And you're gonna raise your arm up overhead. So, not really the Indian club way of doing it. This would be more like it. You know, whatever. All right, so square your body up. Try to reach your arm as high over your head as you can, but slightly in front of you, and we're gonna do circles around the front. So if you notice, when I cross my body, my elbow bends. So I'm not bringing my shoulder across my body. The shoulder stays in a steady position and the arm moves around it. So that if we wanted to do a different thing, your arm comes right up over. So you're not cutting your face off with your arm. It's not very sharp, it probably wouldn't happen. Okay, let's reverse the circle. For that first one, I went across my body. Just because I talked about it, I decided I should do it wrong. Okay. If we were doing real club transitions, you'd do a little thing like that and get over to the other side. Not necessary, but if you want to play with it, go right ahead. Okay. Outward circles first. I don't think I counted. But, you know, we'll try to even up the sides as best we can. And go to the other side. Again, no fancy transitions here from me. Still working on that. Okay, so hopefully your shoulders feel pretty warm now. Fabulous. Just do a couple up overhead and back. Just kind of get your arms unwound from that. And we're going to head down to the ground. So, I want to give options. If you like planks, we'll do some of that. If you don't, we'll do some roll-ups. So I'll just show briefly roll-up variations, plank variations that we're going to do, and you can pick your poison there. So if being on your hands and knees or in a plank is not comfortable for you, that's fine. We can get our abs to work in all kinds of different ways. So if you're doing roll-up variations, what I would like is a couple just good old roll-ups just to warm up the spine. And then find some tough spots and pulse. Find 2 spots on the way down. Rest, and then 2 different spots on the way up. So you can kind of find where it's hard to hold and pulse there. Try to get those abdominal muscles on that don't necessarily want to be on. Okay, so you can be working on those if that's your preference. If you would like to engage your core from a more plank or quadruped position, let's find quadruped first. So neutral spine, toes tucked under, and first we're just going to bring one leg back without shifting the hips. And then bring it in, go to the other side. Alternate there. And try to find the connection in the front that's helping you maintain a neutral spine. So the whole core cylinder is working together. Okay, so now we're going to go both legs back into our plank. And then lift your leg from here one at a time, still trying to minimize the movement in the pelvis. And then bring a knee down, other knee down. Walk your hands out a little bit and just rock back and forth for a few. So in this movement, try to connect your whole body from head to toe. Keep your spine neutral throughout the whole movement. And just take note of what's connecting, what you can't connect into, and how it all feels. I might get back to this later. Okay, so bring yourself back into a good plank position. And we'll just hold that for a few seconds. Think about your belly button going towards your spine, keeping Don't excessively arch in your low back. Hips are below your shoulders. You're really engaging into your whole cylinder of your core. And then find your way to standing. Okay. Hopefully that's all on a little bit now. So if you were laying down doing roll-ups, you would stay there. If you weren't, let's get there. So however you'd like to, get down to the ground, bend your knees. Let's take a second here to connect into the mat with your feet, with your spine, with your shoulder blades. See how much connection you can get into the ground. And then we're just going to do a really micro movement of pressing our feet into the mat and tucking our tailbone a little bit. So it's like we're gonna roll up into a bridge, but just the pelvis is lifting off the ground slightly. So the movement starts with the connection into the ground, feet down, engage your legs, and then allow posterior pelvic tilt. Just do that a couple times and think about how much engagement you can get into the legs and into your lower abdominal muscles. Okay, now we're going to do the other end of that. Tuck your chin and lift your shoulder blades off the ground and roll down. So we're articulating, starting with the top of our head and tucking our chin. Let's do that one more time. And then stay here, engage into your feet, and tuck your tailbone under. Lower your tailbone, lower your head. Let's do that for 2 more. You're going to tuck, reach, press down into your feet, tuck your tailbone, lower, lower, relax. One more. Chest up, engage in the feet, and lower and lower. Okay, so that's our little teaser prep. So I want to focus on the arm movement in the teaser. So whatever needs to happen with your lower body is fine with me. Here are the options. Feet can be down. Legs can be in tabletop. Legs can be straight. So in thinking about the arm movement, so this is kind of what we're going for. So teaser, oftentimes when you're coming up into it, there's this place where you want to get on top of your sit bones and your low back arches. And we don't want to see that. We want to keep that C curve in the lumbar spine, which is tricky. So if you find where that tipping point is and you want to stay out of it, then you find where that tipping point is and you don't go up further. So maybe you're not coming all the way up. Maybe you're staying on your sacrum, and this is just really hard for your abs, which is what we're going for. So It's an important thing to know when your spine is safe and when your spine is not safe, and that's not the same for everybody in all positions all the time. So becoming aware of what's happening is really crucial to keeping yourself healthy and uninjured. So having a mirror or a video camera set up so that you can see what your body is doing as well as feel helps you get a better picture of what's going on. So what I like to do, from wherever you want your legs to be, I'll try to show all. Just come up into that first part of the teaser and try to move your arms up. Okay? It's really tricky. Okay. So if I'm here, arms up, lower, lower. If I'm here, that's hard stuff. So, doesn't have to look pretty, but it should feel good and it should feel like this is activating. So you can play with that and see what works for your body. If you're having a hard time finding your C curve and keeping it, you're gonna try to do some rolling like balls, and so your legs are closer in, it's a little safer, not as difficult here. So you can feel if you're rocking up and arching or if you're maintaining a good C curve. And when you're doing this, you should feel lower abdominal engagement, keeping your legs tucked in and keeping that C curve in your spine. So it's, a lot to play with. So we'll revisit that potentially in a little bit. Let's do a little bridging now. So we just did a bunch of C curves. Let's do a neutral spine for our bridge. So heels close to your butt. Think about connecting your rib cage to your pelvis and moving it up as one. Going as high as you feel comfortable that you can keep this and not start arching. So neutral spine goes up and comes down together. You're thinking about opening up in the front and squeezing your glutes to lift you from behind. And it's really gonna be, to where your shoulder blades are. You're not going up more because then you start arching your back. So just bridge in a hinge, connecting your glutes and your hamstrings and your feet, lengthen your quads and your hip flexors, and just keep that connection in your core. Okay, hold your bridge up wherever you want it to be, arms, fingertips to the ceiling, and reach towards above your head so your thumbs reach the mat. Then go all the way down, pinkies to the floor, all the way back up. So we're maintaining our little bridge, our little hingy bridge, and moving our arms. Okay, when you've had enough of that, stop. Come to standing however you'd like. I love it when that actually works. Doesn't matter how you get there. Okay, so grab your clubs if you have them. If not, just bring yourself. Actually, just one at a time. So now we're going to get a little circular motion happening in the shoulder joint. Hopefully now our core and our glutes are a little more engaged than the first time we did swings, so you should be able to feel strong, steady connection. And we're gonna try to keep our body pretty still in this. So we're just gonna do some circles around the head, outward at first. So you bring the club behind you or your hand right behind your head towards your, like the base of your skull. When you get here, you're gonna go from this opened up position to elbow towards your sternum. So if you're not holding the club like a dummy, you're at 2 o'clock. And then you're going to cast the club down and around and complete the circle. So behind your head, in front of your head, around. So if you have clubs of a normal weight, you can bring a little bit of speed and momentum into this. But we're really working on bringing the shoulder blade back towards the spine, opening up the armpit, and getting good circular rotation in the shoulder joint. Let's reverse it. So cut your face off, open up your elbow and back out. So same movement, opposite direction. You're casting out and away instead of across your body. Okay, when you've had enough of that, you can switch arms. Behind your head, elbow wide, elbow in, cast down. And when you're ready to switch, just swing it around. We'll get to those fancy transitions someday, but I need a lot more practice. I think the best way to learn new skills is to teach them immediately, right? Okay. All right, so now our arms are nice and warm. We're gonna do, grab your resistance band. I wanna connect into the back with this exercise. So you can play around with a couple different things, trying to find your back muscles engaging. So you're thinking about bringing your shoulder blades towards your spine, and that's what we're doing. So you can do it with a resistance band or light weights. We'll do a quick little bent over row. So I'm widening my stance. My feet are not something you can see. More like hip or shoulder distance apart. And I'm going to hinge forward. And then there should be just a slight amount of tension in the band to begin with. We're doing that good hinge where we're engaging our abdominal muscles, and then we're going to try to bring our shoulder blades towards our spine. So it doesn't matter so much how far your elbows are coming up. Just really concentrate on connecting in here so your ribs don't flare as your shoulder blades come back. And find that kind of even gauge of your arm bone is coming with your shoulder blade. So it's a struggle, but that's the focus. So you're connecting into your rhomboids, mid and lower traps, and trying to retract your scapulas towards your spine. So when you've done a couple of those, doesn't matter, we're just priming, this is not the workout. And you feel like doing it, we can bring a little rotation and more extensive arm movement into this. So square up your hips first, then turn. Turn is optional. You're going to think about starting the movement by retracting one scapula. So you're bringing your shoulder blade back, which starts the rotation of the movement, and then you end with your arm open up, your chest open, your shoulder blade on your back. So you're moving through the shoulder blade movement. That can happen without moving your spine or with moving your spine, depending on what feels best for you. So, so you're thinking about your scapula is protracted, it's away from your spine. You're bringing it towards your spine and opening up through the front. So that should, with a little bit of resistance, really allow you to feel your lower traps and rhomboids connecting in for that movement. We need that if we're going to add weight. So if you have kettlebell, small dumbbells, bag of rice, whatever, you can use just about anything for a bent over row, and it works great. You're gonna start with it in your hands, and then you're just going to hinge forward to wherever it's comfortable. Your knees should be slightly bent. You can be here, you can be here, but the most important thing is that your core can support you. So if that can't handle it, lower your weight, change your angle, but find a good supportive brace here before you do your movement. So wherever it is, you're thinking about your shoulder blades coming back toward your spine, and your abdominal muscles are resisting the rib flare. So you can do as many reps and sets of, well, we'll do one set for now. Reps of that. I will show it with a couple different implements. You can use one kettlebell. You don't need to for a double hand bent over row. So you start here, your shoulders are back and down. You find your good hinge. Keep your elbows in and bring your shoulder blades towards your spine. Depending on your angle, you're going to get different involvement in those back muscles. The upper traps are going to work too, and that's fine. You're just really focusing on the mobility of your scapula, because the more mobile it is, the more muscle contraction can happen. Okay, so directly after that back exercise, I'm going to go right into a chest exercise. You can get there however you want. You can be fancy, you can not be fancy. I'm going to do a push-up and roll over, hopefully to get that in the right place. So we're going to talk about how to get weight safely to you when it never works out. When you're on the ground like this. So say you've got a dumbbell or a kettlebell or a sandbag, whatever, and you want to get that weight on top of you. You want to be able to turn your body without a lot of rotation. So we're not twisting. You want to turn your body to the side, hips and shoulders come together, and then we're going to go back the way we came. So you grab your weight, just hug it, however, And then you're just rolling back with it so that everything lands on the mat on the one side together. Okay, so if you've got a sandbag, it's hard to maneuver, but whatever. You want to get it so it's resting on your knuckles, which this one is a little bit stiff, so it's kind of tricky. But there we go. Okay, so this pressing is not a wide elbow press. So get your elbows on the ground, your weights at about nipple height, lower chest, and you're going to press straight up and come straight back down till your elbows are on the ground again. So you can do as many reps or sets of that as you want. If you want to use one kettlebell, you can go bottoms down. It's kind of a fun way. So the horn is on your sternum and press up and down like this. You can do one arm at a time, but you really want to brace with the other side and make sure your hips aren't going super wonky. Strict press with 20 pounds is a stretch for me. So we did back and then opposition to that. You can do rounds of this. Hi, Miss Muffet. How's you going? Hello. Fiona said, Mom, I don't know what you're doing here, but I just wanted to come say hi. That was it. And she's gonna go take a nap now. So you can do rounds of that, alternating back, chest. You can progressively up the weight each round, up the repetitions each round, and kind of run through that for your big muscle upper body exercise. So you can pause this, you can go through it, whatever, but I'm gonna move on. So that's our bent over rows and our push press with a couple different implements. What was I gonna do next? Oh, I forgot to do the fun one. Okay, so we'll just end on a hard note. Why not? We're going to grab a small weight. So I've got this about 4 pound sand bell. And go back to our teaser idea. And we're gonna kind of ease into it a little bit. So start sitting with your heels or feet down, knees bent. You're gonna roll off your sit bones and find that kind of teaser position. And then bring your arms up and over your head. And then bring it back down. Okay, and then if you'd like, you can lift your legs up and try it from there. If you go too far overhead, you might lose it. But you can find it again. And, you know, play around in here with that pressing motion and then trying to get overhead and using your legs kind of as leverage and counterbalance. So, you know, this can look a lot of different ways, but basically you're maintaining your rounded back and finding how and when your abdominal muscles are connecting into the movement. And the weight just makes it harder. So, yeah, I think that's about all I want to do today. I might add a little like cool down later. But if you want to do some breathing and whatnot to cool yourself down, walk it out, and enjoy the rest of your day. All right, bye.